It wasn't supposed to end this way.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most jaw-dropping times in history when athletes demonstrated terrible, unsporting behavior while competing.
Certainly no winners in this circumstance.
Number 30. Luis Adriano breaking injury rule. In 2012, Ukraine's Shakhtar Donetsk faced Denmark's Nordsjælland in the Champions League. During the match, a player went down injured. So, in these circumstances, the restart typically involves the opposition passing the ball back to those who had possession when the game stopped. However, Luis Adriano had other ideas. When teammate Willian passed it back to Nordsjælland, Adriano ran onto the ball, dribbled it past the keeper, and scored. Nordsjælland, understandably, was furious. Shakhtar players tried to let the Danes score to even it up. However, Taras Stepanenko wasn't on board and blocked the attempt. Adriano went on to grab a hat trick as his team won 5-2. In the aftermath, Adriano was banned for one game for his lack of fair play. Number 29. Sylvester Carmouche's fog deception. Coming into a race at Delta Downs in Vinton, Louisiana in 1990, Sylvester Carmouche and his horse, Landing Officer, didn't have great odds to win at 23-1. Yet the underdogs pulled it off by winning by 24 lengths. However, then came the allegations. Due to heavy fog, Carmouche was accused of hiding in the mist, allowing the other jockeys to round the track, then coming back in front to take the win. Soon after, the suspicious officials and other jockeys stated Carmouche hadn't passed them during the race, which led to his disqualification. It got worse, as the jockey was banned from racing in Louisiana for 10 years. The punishment kept coming as Carmouche was sentenced to 30 days in jail and fined $250. Number 28. Chris Simon's sharp stamp. 2007 wasn't a good year on the ice for Chris Simon. Playing for the New York Islanders, he already served a 25-game suspension for attempting to hit Ryan Hallweg with his stick.
I just finished my check on him on the half wall on our end, and I think he was a little fazed by it, and then I turned around, and next thing I knew, he was winding up and hit me in the face.
Yet during a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, it got worse when Simon went to get to the bench. After tripping Jarkko Ruutu, Simon stood on his leg with his blade, using the limb as a soft step.
Deliberate attempt to injure is the call, so a major penalty against the Islanders.
The outrage for this reckless action caused Simon to take time away from ice hockey. However, the NHL wasn't satisfied with that. He was given a 30-day, resulting in him forfeiting over $290,000 in salary. Number 27. The Boston Marathon cheater. Every so often, an athlete comes seemingly out of nowhere to dominate a sport and write their name in lights. In 1980, it was Rosie Ruiz's turn as she easily won the Boston Marathon, becoming the fastest woman in the competition's history.
At a news conference, Rosie Ruiz was introduced as the top woman finisher. When she told Rogers her winning time, he shook his head in disbelief. 2 hours and 31 minutes. Rogers seemed visibly stunned by it.
However, immediately there were signs something fishy was going on. After all, Ruiz massively cut her time from the 1979 New York Marathon, couldn't remember the details of the race, and didn't seem tired. Spectators then accused Ruiz of slipping from the crowd to take the lead. An investigation of her New York result accused her of using the subway to get ahead. While Ruiz denied the allegations, she was stripped of the victory, and it was handed to Jacqueline Garreau.
Is it possible, Rosie, that you even doubt now that whether you ran the race or not?
No, there's no doubt in my mind. I know what I did, and I will prove it again in the future.
Number 26. The hand of back. Despite captaining the Leicester Tigers and England, as well as winning the World Cup in 2003, rugby union legend Neil Back is best known for one infamous moment, the hand of back. In 2002, his Leicester team was looking to win consecutive Heineken Cups by beating Munster in the final.
Brilliant! I know what's happened there. Healy clears the lines. You know what? We're in the last minute of stoppage time.
With Back's team narrowly leading 15-9 with minutes left, Munster got a scrum near the try line. However, as scrum half Peter Stringer went to put the ball in, Back knocked the ball from his hands, giving Leicester possession, leading to them clearing the ball from danger.
Yeah, but watch this, he's ready. And Neil Back, oh, there we go. Oh, and he's been conned. He's been conned.
Oh dear, it's going to end in controversy.
All of this was missed by the match officials. Back did apologize several months after the incident. However, he later stated he regretted nothing. Number 25. Andrew Galata goes below the belt multiple times. Coming into his first bout with Riddick Bowe in 1996, Andrew Galata had an impressive win record of 28-0. However, his reputation as a dirty boxer soon crept out. Throughout, Galata struck Bowe with low blows, leading to point deductions.
There's a point deducted from each of the three scorecards. That point goes against Galata.
This left men watching this on TV experiencing more secondhand pain for Bowe than a left hook across the jaw. Later in the 7th round, Galata did it again, sending Bowe to the mat. After so many below-the-belt punches, the ref disqualified Galata.
Down goes Bowe, and that's it. Great. It's a disqualification.
However, immediately afterward, a brawl erupted in the ring, causing a riot to spark. 5 months later, the duo battled once more. Galata continued low-blowing Bowe, leading to another DQ. Number 24. The Avery Rule. Not every blatant, unsporting behavior results in a rule change, but that's what happened after Sean Avery's conduct in 2008.
Avery, settle it down, he takes a hit.
With his team, the New York Rangers, taking on the New Jersey Devils in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals, Avery stood in front of goaltender Martin Brodeur, staring at him as he waved his hands and stick. Known as screening, players tend to look at the play rather than the goalie. Yet Avery took a different, controversial approach.
Sean Avery's tactics at screening the goaltender like nothing I've ever seen before.
While a goal wasn't directly scored during that play, Avery fired the puck into the net shortly after. The next day, the NHL changed the screening rules, making note that Avery's antics would result in a minor penalty in the future. Number 23. Frank Rijkaard's spitting. Everyone knows that spitting is gross. The same can be said on the football pitch against another player. At the 1990 FIFA World Cup, West Germany faced the Netherlands in the round of 16. Rijkaard, for some reason, had something against Germany's Rudi Völler.
Here's Völler. Oh, might be a free kick here, and it looks like the referee from Argentina is going to wave the first yellow card.
After fouling him and getting a yellow card, the Dutch legend spat on the German's hair. When Völler protested, he got booked too. Shortly after, Völler was penalized for a suspected dive in the penalty area. Rijkaard stamped on the striker and twisted his ear. As such, both players were sent off.
And Rudi Völler, well, he has every reason to feel disgusted.
Yet, when they went to leave the pitch, Rijkaard spat on Völler's hair again. The two legendary players soon buried the hatchet and moved on. Number 22. Pedro Martinez chucks Don Zimmer. In 2003, tempers were flaring during Game 3 of the 2003 American League Championship Series between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees.
Yeah, that was perilously close to his head. Martinez hitting Soriano and Derek Jeter. The last time the Yankees and Red Sox played a 2-1 game won by the Yankees.
The Sox' Pedro Martinez drew heat after hitting Karim Garcia's shoulder with a pitch, followed by allegations he threatened to throw a beanball at Jorge Posada. Martinez denied this to be the case. Later, a scuffle kicked off, causing both sets of players and coaches to descend on the field. Seeing the opportunity, Yankees coach Don Zimmer charged Martinez. The player grabbed the 72-year-old and casually tossed him to the ground. Both Zimmer and Martinez apologized for what happened, with the latter stating it was his career's biggest regret.
That's the only blemish I would love to erase from my career. There hasn't been any other moment where I felt worse.
Number 21. Jack Tatum's preseason hit on Darryl Stingley. Typically, preseason games are a good way for athletes to take it a bit easier and get ready for the upcoming competition. However, that's not what happened in 1978 between the Oakland Raiders and New England Patriots.
On Sunday, I became what they call the assassin. I was just a tough guy. I was a sheriff in the Raider secondary.
Darryl Stingley had a promising career ahead of him as a wide receiver with the Patriots. But as he attempted to gather a pass, he was struck by an over-the-top hit by Jack Tatum. The Raiders' safety, nicknamed the Assassin, was known for his aggressive tackles. Stingley broke multiple vertebrae in his neck, resulting in him spending the rest of his life using a wheelchair. Due to the tackle not technically being against the rules, Tatum didn't get any punishment and was accused of showing no remorse.
Did you ever apologize to Darryl Stingley?
No, I didn't. And I will tell you why. I apologize because Darryl got hurt, and I'm sorry he got hurt. But I will never apologize for the way I play football. That just won't happen.
Number 20, Shaq and Dudley.
But Dudley is now joined with Shaq and threw the ball in his direction. Man, if you want to pick somebody to go with, you go right to the head of the class when you go after Shaq.
No, this isn't a fun buddy cop movie. It's one of the most famous incidents in basketball history. It occurred on March 28, 1999, during a game between the Lakers and the Knicks. Shaq dunked on Chris Dudley and then shoved him to the ground, his massive frame sending Dudley sprawling like a ragdoll. A visibly frustrated and embarrassed Dudley then stood up, grabbed the basketball, and whipped it at Shaq as he jogged away. Both actions went against the values of the NBA, with Shaq physically taunting his opponent and Dudley responding with like-minded aggression. Both were handed technical fouls, and both were labeled unsportsmanlike in their behavior.
He just overpowers him, and he comes down, and then he shoves him right there. They called the technical on Shaq on that play, and then the technical on Dudley for throwing the ball.
Number 19, the Martin incident.
Ball is long gone.
What is this?
Wow, man,
that's ridiculous. He should be out of the game.
American football is full of dirty hits, but there are few quite like the Martin incident of 1986. It refers to Packers defensive end Charles Martin, who committed a dirty tackle against Bears quarterback Jim McMahon. Long after McMahon had thrown the ball, Martin grabbed him from behind and suplexed him to the ground, worsening his already torn rotator cuff. McMahon needed surgery and was out for the rest of the season. As for Martin, he made the history books. First player ever ejected for a violent act and first player to ever be suspended for an on-field incident. The hit was so filthy that when Bears offensive lineman Jim Covert retaliated with a dirty hit of his own, the refs declined to penalize him.
Well, we expected the rough stuff here, but we didn't expect to see something quite that flagrant.
Number 18. Barry Hall wallops Brent Staker.
Hall off the ball. Oh! Barry Hall has whacked behind play. That is ridiculous, Barry Hall. He has smacked Staker in the head, and he will be reported.
A very popular player of the Australian Football League, Barry Hall is considered one of the best forwards in modern history. Regardless, he has been at the center of numerous controversies, like punching Brent Staker straight in the face. Hall was frustrated and tangled up with Staker, so he threw an arm backwards towards Staker's head. This did not have the intended effect, so Hall simply turned around and punched Staker in the jaw. You can practically see his eyes roll back into his head, and he was taken out of the game. Justice came for Hall. He was severely reprimanded by the AFL tribunal and received a 7-game suspension.
I'll tell you what, the look of Brent Staker's eyes after the impact is not going to do Barry Hall a whole lot of good.
Number 17. Chase Utley breaks a leg.
Utley got off in a great secondary lead, and he gets right there to break up the double play.
Didn't even start sliding till he was even with the bag.
Having long been criticized for his aggressive base running, Chase Utley committed the cardinal sin on October 10, 2015. It was Game 2 of the National League Division Series, and Utley's Dodgers were losing 2-1. A double play was about to be performed by the Mets to end the inning, but Utley performed an egregiously late slide and kicked the legs out from under Ruben Tejada. He broke the double play and Tejada's leg. Yep, his right fibula was fractured in the collision, and he was never quite the same again. Utley was suspended for 2 games and became a permanent rival of the Mets, even being thrown at by Noah Syndergaard the following May.
Did he just kick him out?
He threw behind Utley. Did they just kick Syndergaard out?
Number 16. Trevor Chappell bowls underarm.
We're going to bowl an underarm. You haven't believed it? And that's a disappointing finish.
When the Prime Minister of New Zealand calls something the most disgusting incident he can recall in the history of cricket, you know something bad went down. He's referring to the underarm incident of 1981, which occurred during a cricket match between New Zealand and Australia. To prevent New Zealand from scoring the 6 required runs to win, Captain Greg Chappell told his brother Trevor to deliver the last ball underarm. While not illegal at the time, this throw was highly frowned upon and betrayed the competitive spirit of the game. The incident left a lasting stain on the reputation of the Chappell brothers and Australian cricket, and underarm bowling in such context is now explicitly prohibited in the laws of cricket.
Let me just tell you what I think about it. I think it was a disgraceful performance from a captain who got his sums wrong today, and I think it should never be permitted to happen again.
Number 15. Todd Bertuzzi sucker punches Steve Moore.
Steve, I just want to apologize for what happened out there. That I had no intention on hurting you. And I feel awful for what transpired.
One of the nastiest plays in hockey history occurred on March 8, 2004, when the Canucks were playing the Avalanche. Canuck Todd Bertuzzi was goading Avalanche player Steve Moore into a fight, but Moore simply ignored him. This angered Bertuzzi, so he grabbed Moore's jersey and sucker punched him from behind. The hit instantly knocked out Moore, and his limp body fell face first onto the ice. The results were horrific. He received facial lacerations, suffered from amnesia, and worst of all, broke his neck in 3 places. Luckily, Moore would not face lasting physical injury, but his career was over. Bertuzzi's punishment extended beyond hockey. He was brought up on assault charges and was given probation and 80 hours of community service.
Have you ever spoken with Todd Bertuzzi?
No.
Will you ever, do you think?
I don't know. I don't give it much thought.
Number 14. The many freakouts of John McEnroe.
Hey, I saw what you did to those guys who were making fun of you. Nice work.
You know what it's like to get riled up, don't you, Johnny Mac?
That I do.
Much like golf, tennis has always been considered a gentleman's sport, with very strict rules against noise, excessive celebration, and emotional outbursts. John McEnroe threw that rulebook straight in the garbage. McEnroe was an intense player, known far and wide for his fierce anger and intense blow-ups. Throughout his career, McEnroe often engaged in arguments that went beyond simple frustration, with long, heated diatribes aimed at umpires, linesmen, and even spectators. If he wasn't screaming abuse at umpires, he was smashing his racket to pieces or intimidating fans, or being disqualified from prestigious Grand Slam events. McEnroe was the resident bad boy of tennis, and the people loved it.
Right on the line. No mistakes so far in this match, right? You haven't overruled anything. No mistakes whatsoever.
Second stop, please.
Answer my question! The question, jerk!
Number 13. Albert Hainsworth stomps on Andre Gerrard.
Right there.
Oh, my gosh.
That's uncalled for, man.
That is unbelievable.
Exactly 20 years after Charles Martin suplexed Jim McMahon, the NFL issued its second multi-game suspension for an on-field incident. It came at the expense of Titans defensive tackle Albert Hainsworth, who committed an egregious act on Cowboys center Andre Gerrard. Gerrard had fallen to the ground in a play and his helmet had come loose. According to some sources, Hainsworth may have even ripped it off. Regardless, Hainsworth then stomped on Gerrard's unprotected head with his cleated shoe, opening a massive gash that required 30 stitches to close. This cut missed Gerrard's right eye by mere inches. Hainsworth was suspended for 5 games and may have even faced legal penalties, but Gerrard declined to press charges.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 92. For stomping a player's helmet.
Number 12. Dale Hunter blindsides Pierre Turgeon.
Dale Hunter follows with a cheap shot. Turgeon out 4 to 6 weeks with a separated shoulder and a concussion.
New NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman promised to make the game safer, and he looked to make an example of players who committed egregious acts of violence. His first target was Capitals player Dale Hunter. The Capitals were playing the Islanders in the 1993 Patrick Division semifinals when Islander Pierre Turgeon stole the puck from Hunter and scored a goal. Embarrassed and angry, Hunter hit Turgeon from behind and sent him into the board. Turgeon separated his shoulder and missed most of the playoffs, while Hunter received the longest suspension in NHL history at the time, missing 21 games.
Dale Hunter, your buddy's in a little trouble for cross-checking Pierre Turgeon last night and separating his shoulder. Turgeon is gone for the playoffs.
Well, is he?
Well, that's the word out of New York at this point.
Word out of New York, he might be back for the next series.
Number 11. Vontaze Burfict goes helmet-to-helmet against Jack Doyle.
Little game rewind in this one. Vontaze Burfict tossed out of the game. You see, Jack Doyle, the tight end, had made a catch. He was down on the ground, and Burfict leads with his helmet and makes helmet-to-helmet contact.
Considered one of the most controversial football players of all time, Vontaze Burfict has long been criticized for his aggressive play style and dirty hits. It all culminated in the longest suspension in NFL history, which he received in Week 4 of the 2019 season. Colts tight end Jack Doyle had just caught the ball when he was plowed into by Burfict, who initiated helmet-to-helmet contact. Intentional hits of this kind are highly illegal, especially considering the prevalence of CTE in football players. Burfict was essentially fired from the NFL as a result. He was suspended for 12 games, and despite becoming a free agent in 2020, he has never been picked up by another team.
The league has suspended Burfict for the rest of the season. The NFL says Burfict is suspended without pay for the remaining 13 weeks of the season and any playoff games for repeated violations of unnecessary roughness rules.
Number 10. Kermit Washington nearly kills Rudy Tomjanovich.
Fractured jaw, broken nose, and a skull fracture that was supposedly so severe that he could taste his own spinal fluid.
On the night of December 9th, 1977, Lakers player Kermit Washington delivered one of the most vicious punches in sports history. A scuffle broke out between the Lakers and Rockets, and Washington punched Tomjanovich in the face. The blow could be heard throughout the stadium, and players described the sound as a melon splatting against concrete. The results were horrific. The entire bone structure of Tomjanovich's face was shattered, with his doctor comparing it to a cracked eggshell. Spinal fluid was also leaking into his skull capsule and mouth, and Tomjanovich could reportedly taste the fluid as he was taken off the court. Luckily, he made a full recovery, despite serious doubts from his surgeon.
The team realized how severe this injury was when the surgeon asked Rudy if he could taste anything in his mouth. When he said he could, but it tasted bitter, the doctor knew that that was spinal fluid leaking from his brain, and this was truly an emergency.
Number 9. The Black Sox scandal.
I love baseball ever since Arnold Rothstein fixed the World Series in 1919.
The name Shoeless Joe Jackson is synonymous with baseball, yet he's not in the Hall of Fame. Ever wonder why? The story dates back to 1919, when 8 members of the Chicago White Sox conspired with gangsters and gamblers to fix the World Series. The heavily favored White Sox lost the series to the Cincinnati Reds, and many reporters at the time immediately deduced that something was fishy. They were right. The 8 members had received bribes and had intentionally thrown the games with bad play. Many people believe that Jewish mob kingpin Arnold Rothstein was behind the scheme, but this has never been proven. Regardless, the 8 players, including Jackson, were banned from baseball and made ineligible for Hall of Fame inclusion.
Getting thrown out of baseball was like having part of me amputated.
Number 8. Lance Armstrong cheats and lies his way to 7 titles.
Some breaking news now on Lance Armstrong. The global governing body of cycling has just announced moments ago it will ban Armstrong for life and strip him of his 7 tour titles.
Lance Armstrong turned cycling from a relatively niche sport into a worldwide phenomenon in the early 2000s. With major sponsorships and worldwide news coverage, he dominated his way to 7 straight Tour de France titles. But despite the universal acclaim and prestige, allegations of doping haunted him like a ghost. Many people accused the cycling sensation of using PEDs, but he continuously and vehemently denied it. Fans were on his side, and the accusers were made pariahs. Of course, they were eventually vindicated when the United States Anti-Doping Agency proved that, yep, Armstrong was doping the entire time. His titles were stripped, he was banned from all future cycling events, and his name became synonymous with unsportsmanlike cheaters.
This guy seems healthy, loves cycling.
Yes, so did Lance Armstrong, and he turned out to be a lying drug user. Or a hero. I don't know where we stand on him now.
Number 7. Marty McSorley hits Donald Brashear.
Oh, it appears that Donald Brashear is bleeding from the nose.
Marty McSorley ended his career with Donald Brashear. You could make a folk song out of that. McSorley played in the NHL for nearly 20 years, but his career and reputation were permanently tarnished on February 21st, 2000. The Bruins were playing the Canucks, and with just under 5 seconds left in the game, McSorley whacked Brashear in the head with his stick. Brashear fell backwards and hit the ice, suffering both a seizure and a grade 3 concussion. McSorley was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, got 18 months probation, and never played in the NHL again. And with that, 2 decades worth of goodwill went down the drain.
I think Marty, in all fairness, was trying to tap him in the shoulder, but you're very responsible for your stick, and this is not good.
Number 6. The Zinedine Zidane headbutt.
Ugh, that's gotta hurt worse than getting a birthday telegram from Zinedine Zidane.
Yes?
Bon anniversaire.
Hundreds of millions tuned in to the 2006 World Cup final to watch Italy defeat France. But their win was grossly overshadowed by the infamous Zinedine Zidane headbutt, which is what anyone could talk about in the months following the game. Zidane was running with Italian player Marco Materazzi when the latter grabbed Zidane's jersey. In response, Zidane turned around and headbutted Materazzi straight in the chest. He was given a red card, making him the first soccer player to ever be ejected from a World Cup final in extra time. The incident was widely parodied in pop culture, and Zidane became the poster boy for unsportsmanlike conduct.
He's just headed Materazzi in the middle of the chest. What was Zidane thinking of? Zinedine Zidane's career ends with being sent off in the World Cup final.
Number 5. The malice at the palace.
The ugliest moments in NBA history. A black eye on the league that changed security guidelines at arenas around the country and altered the future of 2 franchises.
It's not often that fans get directly involved in a fight, but they certainly did during Malice at the Palace. The date, November 19th, 2004. The place, the Palace of Auburn Hills, home of the Detroit Pistons. With just 45 seconds left in the game, Pistons center Ben Wallace shoved pacer Ron Artest after being fouled. A fight then broke out on the courts, and fans decided to get involved. A fan threw a drink at Artest, causing him to storm into the crowd and attack the wrong person. Fans defended that person, players defended Artest, and all hell broke loose. Police were called in order to quell the near riot, and when the dust finally settled, 10 people were charged with assault, including 5 players.
Security trying to somehow restore order. Fans and players are going at it, and the players trying to help each other out.
Number 4. Luis Suárez takes a bite, or 3.
Suárez does. He does exactly that. That is quite incredible and pretty disgusting. In that whole incident, I think Branislav Ivanovic showed admirable restraint.
Despite being called one of the greatest strikers of all time, Luis Suárez has a terrible reputation for his on-field behavior. Many fans, players, and analysts have accused him of diving, and he had been caught biting other players on no less than 3 separate occasions. He bit Otman Bakal while playing for AFC Ajax, resulting in a 7-game suspension. He bit Branislav Ivanovic during a Premier League match, 10-game suspension. And he bit Giorgio Chiellini in front of millions during the 2014 FIFA World Cup, 4-month ban from all soccer activities. As a result, Suárez is now regarded as one of the dirtiest soccer players of the modern era.
It looks to me, dare I say it, that he's had a little bite at Chiellini. Surely not again. Surely not again.
Number 3. Eric Cantona goes kung fu fighting.
The lad came down and gave him apparently dog's abuse. And he just thought, no, you're not getting away with it.
Attacking fans is a huge no-no, but no one gave Eric Cantona the memo. On January 25, 1995, Cantona's Manchester United were playing Crystal Palace when Cantona was sent off by the referee. A Palace fan named Matthew Simmons then left his seat and confronted Cantona as he was walking off the pitch. Incensed at Simmons' words, Cantona delivered a flying kung fu style kick against the fan and followed it up with a flurry of punches. Simmons was fined £500 for abusive behavior, and it's believed that he used racist language against Cantona. As for him, he was fined £30,000, banned from soccer for 8 months, and sentenced to 2 weeks in prison, although this was later changed to community service following an appeal.
Just kind of taken aback by what you're seeing. You see him kind of launch himself into the crowd, and you're like, wow.
Number 2, Tyson bites Holyfield.
We go back in, then all of a sudden, you bit this ear. And I wasn't the same one? No, it's a different here.
The 17,000 people crowding MGM Grand Garden Arena maybe didn't get their money's worth with this fight, but at least they got to witness one of the coldest incidents in sporting history. Evander Holyfield was handily beating Mike Tyson, who was left frustrated both at his poor performance and some headbutts, whether intentional or not, from Holyfield. His temper boiling over, Tyson bit Holyfield on the right ear and tore off a piece of cartilage. The fight was allowed to continue, only for Tyson to once again bite Holyfield, this time on his left ear. That was it. Tyson was disqualified, and the ear bite went on to become a staple of pop culture for decades to come.
You do that one more time, I'm taking a point off. You hear me?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The attack on Nancy Kerrigan.
Nancy Kerrigan, the American figure skater who is widely considered a favorite to win a Winter Olympics gold medal, was attacked at a practice session for the U.S. Figure Skating Championships.
Who knew that the world of figure skating was so cutthroat? Nancy Kerrigan was a successful skater in the early 90s, and she threatened the career of Tonya Harding. While successful in her own right, Harding was always overshadowed by Kerrigan. On the afternoon of January 6, 1994, Kerrigan was struck in the knee by a man named Shane Stant, who was wielding a police baton. The attack was eventually traced to Sean Eckhart and Jeff Gillooly, the then husband of Tonya Harding. They hoped to injure Kerrigan, thereby increasing the prospects of Harding at the upcoming Olympics in Norway. It's unclear how complicit Harding was in the attack itself, but she accepted a plea deal after covering it up and was banned from figure skating.
Once I was banned from figure skating for life, I didn't have a lot of options. Did what I had to do to just stay in the public eye and pay the bills.
Did you happen to see any of these live? What was your reaction? Let us know in the comments below.
This is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.